Yesterday I was solving everything, and today I would love to hear your solutions, how you do it, and maybe I can adjust you. In particular, Safa, Muhammad, Hala, I would like to all of you work equally. So for now, just take a look at these three questions. And first one for Safa, second one for Muhammad, and third one for Hala. Please circle your answer, and then we'll go through it, and I'll ask your reasoning about it, okay? Please take 5 minutes to choose one, or maybe you can do it faster. Oh, okay. Sorry, guys, I muted myself. So, Safa, C is not the right answer because if you check what would be the initial function, if this is the reciprocal, you would see that it would be x plus 1 divided by x, which gives us 1 plus 1 over x, which is not a linear function. 1 over x is not a linear dependency. For your question, A would be the correct answer. So for this question, keep in mind that the numerator is supposed to be a constant value, K or C constant, and denominator supposed to have greatest exponent of 1. Here is x to the power 1. So answer A would be the right choice. B is not correct also because x squared in here. Is it clear, Safa? It would be unfortunate to lose marks on a question like this because this is the very simple one. Then just pay attention to the numerator. Then for Muhammad, what's the plus on top of 5 for my question? So plus on top of 5 means, so how you read this? What is the true about the function, this function as x, and this x and arrow, we read it as x approaches negative 5 over 3. This is how we read this question. As x approaches negative 5 over 3. So this is the coordinate axis. Let's say negative 5 over 3 is here, and plus in top right corner means that we approach this value from the right hand side. From this side it's plus, from this side it's minus. So what's happening to the function as we approach it from the right hand side? Yeah, Mohammed, I was explaining your question. Can you hear me now? You heard it? So you read this as x approaches negative 5 over 3, and plus means it approaches it from the right hand side, from positive direction. Negative means from left. So take a few more minutes to pick a right answer. So what do you have to do? You have to substitute here x, some value close to 5 over 3, somewhere close here. It could be negative 4.99 over 3. This is the value you could choose to substitute it into this function and see what are you getting from it. You supposed to get either negative infinity or positive infinity because negative 5 over 3 is vertical asymptote for this function, because when x equals negative 5 over 3, denominator equals 0. This negative 5 over 3 would be vertical asymptote. This. From left or right hand side, function would behave like this, around this vertical asymptote. You just need to figure out whether it's positive or negative from left or right. So take a moment to pick your answer. And for Hala, is B correct for mine? So let's see. What is true about the function f of x equals negative 1 over x minus 3 as x approaches infinity, positive infinity? If you don't see minus, it means positive infinity. So basically, you're asked to check the end behavior. Let's see. The way I do it, I substitute just in my mind some big number like 10,000 or million, wherever. It's obvious that denominator is going to be incredibly big positive number, while numerator is 1, which means 1 divided by big positive number would give us something close to 0. But there is a question whether we approach 0 from top as soon as it's y value or from bottom. And that's when we refer to minus in front of it. If there is no minus in front of it, it means we're approaching 0 from top, because result of 1 divided by incredibly big positive number would be something like 0.000001 for an instance. But if you have minus in front of it, you're going to get negative 0.000001 for an instance, which means we approach 0 from below. This is our y-axis. 0 is here. Negative numbers are below the x-axis, and positive numbers are above. So in this case, we approach 0 from below, and your answer B is correct. Great job, Hala. Now waiting for Muhammad. Muhammad, did you substitute negative 4.99 over 3 into this formula? No, it wouldn't be undefined. It is undefined for negative 5 over 3x, but you're not taking negative 5 over 3. You're taking value close to negative 5 over 3 from right-hand side, according to this plus sign. So what you would do is pick value that is from the right-hand side from negative 5 over 3. I suggest taking negative 4.99 and substituting it into this equation. You're going to get 1 divided by 3 times negative 4.999 something divided by 3 plus 5. 3 and 3 are simplified, which gives you 1 divided by negative 4.99 in period plus 5. You can see that plus 5 is going to give us positive result of this addition, right? So we're going to get some small positive value, like 1 over 0.000, etc. 1. So result of dividing 1 by incredibly small number, close to 0, would give us positive infinity. If we would have minus here, it would give us negative infinity. But your answer would be B. Is that clear, Mohammed, how you do this? I hope so. So what you did, you substituted a number to the right-hand side. Result of this denominator gives you small positive value. And what happens when you divide something by a fraction? Basically, that's what you're doing. When you're dividing by a fraction, you increase the value. If you divide by a whole number, you reduce it. So because here it's 0.0001, it's a fraction, which makes this division incredibly big number. Basically, it says how many of these 0.0001s fits in 1. And answer is obvious, many of those. So behavior would be positive infinity. If in denominator, for example, you're asked to take some value from the negative side, from left-hand side, you would take something like 5.001, 5.001, for an instance. Plus 5 would give you a small negative number like negative 0.001. Dividing 1 by negative number that is incredibly small would give you negative infinity. So your answer would be C. But here you ask for a number from right-hand side, from negative 5 over 3. I hope no questions about this. Good. So now 4, 5, 6. Again, 5 Let's go Muhammad. Oh, 4 Muhammad, 5 Safa, 6 Hala. Okay, guys, take a few moments and please circle your answer. Don't just type. Great job, Muhammad. That's right. So when x equals 4 over 3, y equals 0. The way you do it, I hope, is that you say, basically, for multiple choice question, you don't need to show your solution. But proper algebraic way of solving it is as follows. You say, if I'm looking for x-intercept, not just add, yeah, add 4 to both sides is correct, but algorithm is as follows. You see x-intercept. What is x-intercept? When we have coordinate axis, x-intercept is the point where graph crosses the x-axis, which means y value for this point, y equals 0. That's an obligatory. That's the only way for x-intercept to occur. So you say 3x minus 4 equals 0. Then you want to get rid of this -4 and keep x separated from any other terms. So what you do, you add 4 to both sides. Now you have 3x equals 4. Next step is to simplify by dividing left and right hand side by 3 to isolate x. And x equals 4 over 3 is your answer. Great job. Good job, Mohammed. Thank you for your work. And number 5 for Safa. What is the equation of the horizontal asymptote? Great. And Safa, tell me, how did you identify that it's going to be y equals 0? You can use your microphone if you're comfortable with it, or you can text your answer. Meanwhile, we're waiting for Hala. Which function has a domain consisting of real numbers? Sorry. Let me close all of it. D. Great job. Hala, can you explain your reasoning? Safa, Hala, can you explain your reasoning? Safa, okay. The numerator -1 is less than the degree of the denominator 1. The horizontal asymptote is y equals 0. Great. That's absolutely right. That's what we covered in the last class. So we say that numerator has exponent.
Actually, I just did like the domain of the other
Sorry, Hala
equations and
speaking?
just found out that D was the only one that did not have a specific number to it.
So that's good approach by crossing out what is not suitable. But if you check the domain of D, you could also see that it's not restricted in any way, right? Because you have to look into denominator. in this type of questions, you just look at the denominator. For example, in A, B, C, we have solutions for x when denominator equals 0, which implies existence of vertical asymptote on our graph, right? And having vertical asymptote implies that not all real numbers are included in the domain of this function. Meanwhile, question D has x squared plus 25, which means this denominator is always going to be positive because x squared is a positive number as well as plus 25 is positive number. Square, any number squared would always be positive. Any real number. We are not talking about imaginative numbers. So in conclusion, you could say that in D, domain is such that x is R and x lays from negative infinity x and all the way to positive infinity. Okay, guys, good job. We're gonna move on to the next pair of questions. Question 7, Safa. Let me enlarge it, zoom out a little bit so we can cover more questions. Question 7 for Safa, 8 for, okay, Mohammed, try it, it's good. And 9 for Hala. Is she back? Yeah, great. Oh, Mohammed, welcome to the class. So for both of you, Mohammed and Mohammed Halil, please do question number 8 because it requires you to solve this function knowing that y-intercept -3. Please, if it's possible, write on the desk here. Write your solution. This one for Mohammed Halil, use the blue pen, and this one for another Mohammed, use the red one. No worries, Hala. I hope you heard my explanation of your question, how to explain why you pick answer D. I said that in all of the rest of choices, there is a solution for x when denominator equals 0, right? Meanwhile, in example D, denominator x squared plus 25 is always positive because x squared is a positive number and as well as plus 25 is positive number. Result of these two, wherever x you choose, is always going to be positive and also never, thus never could be equal to 0. Okay? This is how you explain why you choose D. Safa, B and C. B, correct. Denominator is squared, so always positive. Numerator has no minus in it, so it's also positive. So basically positive on top, positive on bottom gives always positive. As well as C, x squared plus 4 could never be negative, and numerator is always positive too. Good job, Hala. Oh, good job, Safa, sorry. And for Hala, I chose question 9 for you this time. Please take a look in it. Mohammed, if you're trying to draw, you can choose just a pen. Yeah, great job. I'm gonna give you a hint, Mohammed. It also says that y-intercept of -3. So when x equals 0, then y equals -3. So you can use it in your solution right away. Instead of writing f of x, you could just say f of 0 equals -3 equals 2 times 0 plus k x, so 0 plus 3. And find k value from here. Just a little hint for you guys. We have two Muhammads in the class. How do we Muhammad Halil? Am I saying your last name right? Can you hear me? Okay, good job, Muhammad. So your answer is -9, and that's correct. Good job. Good job, Muhammad. Let me, yeah, star for you, star for Safa. Hala, let's see what you got. B. Okay, which of the following function has a whole at x equals 5? So remember that whole appears when numerator and denominator have common factor. Yeah, no worries, Muhammad. So remember that whole appears when numerator and denominator have common factor, and the term that is getting factored has a solution of x equals 5 in this case. And in this question, B as well as C works, because if you substitute 5 into B or C, you get denominator and numerator equals 0, which gives us undefined solution. And also, after simplifying it, you're gonna get x negative 5, x minus 5 times x plus 5 divided by x minus 5. X minus 5 getting crossed out. We left behind with x plus 5. But you have to remember that initially you had denominator and x equals 5 was out of the domain. Yeah, so D is also option, but no worries. Great job. You also get star. Um, Good job, guys. I see you're making progress. Now moving on. 10. This is my favorite one. It's, as for me, an essential of advanced functions because you have to remember all of these steps in order to sketch the graph properly. Please take 5, maybe 10 minutes to do it, but I want each one of you write your suggestions here. Or no, we do it the following way. You solve this in your copybooks, and then, okay, Mo, thank you for that. That simplifies my life a lot. Uh, Mo, is that right? Or like Moe, Mo, okay, Mo. Um, so what I suggest, Safa, Muhammad, Hala, Mo, if possible, you write your solution in your copybooks, and then you shortly text what you got. Your A, and you send it as a direct message to me. Don't share it with the rest of the group. It's your personal work. You send it as a personal message directly to me. And A, for example, you say A, X, this value, Y, that value, horizontal, vertical asymptote, this and that value. No need to write your full solution in the text because it's kind of lengthy. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll give you a hint, advice how to do it. We're just practicing, we're just preparing for the test. No need, Safa, for that. If you could just write short answer, just this answer, no solution for this. I'll look through it and tell you if it's correct or not. You just send the short answer in direct messages here in Zoom. Or if it's more convenient for you, you can send me a screenshot or PDF, wherever you prefer. No worries, Mo. It's just we're just practicing for tests on Sunday. This is not an you're not obliged to submit this work. Yes, we're gonna have a class tomorrow. Let me check one thing. Okay, let me ask you a question, guys. We we have two options for tomorrow. We could have class from 10 a.m. till 12 p.m. or from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Which one do you prefer? Tomorrow, no test. Just reminding you, we're gonna practice again. Okay. No worries, Mohammed. You can review the class in the recordings. Yes, Hala?
In the morning from 10 a.m. I'm still at school. After school I do have a meeting for my internship, so I'm not able to join either.
Okay, no worries. You won't get reduction of your mark for not attending tomorrow's class. We're gonna have it from 3 p.m. till 5 p.m. And after that, I'll upload it to the Google or to the YouTube channel, so you can review it there once you're free. It's also going to be dedicated to preparation for the test on Sunday. Okay, great. So I can see that Mohammed already gave his answer. I'll tell you, Mohammed, whether your answer is right or not. Y-intercept. No, y-intercepts. mm, there is only one y-intercept. Or you or maybe yeah, I think you're right. I'm not sure if you're saying it's x coordinate and y coordinate of the intercept. Ah, okay. That's right then. Vertical asymptote. Uh, I don't see no x-intercept. Yeah, no x-intercept because of your horizontal asymptote that you listed later. In vertical asymptote, you're supposed to have one more vertical asymptote. And the one you listed, this one, yes, the one you listed, and there's supposed to be one more because denominator has two solutions, not just one. There's so you have to solve denominator x squared minus x minus 12 equals 0. Find x1 and x2. You found one of them. There is one more vertical asymptote. So remember, vertical asymptote occurs when um, denominator equals 0. Or maybe, wait, yeah, I think you're right. I think there is one vertical asymptote and one dot discontinuity. One of them is vertical asymptote and the other one is dot discontinuity. But double check it. From now, I suggest we have a 15 minutes break because we're like 1 hour into the class. We're like 10 minutes break, wherever you feel like. Oh, I had an answer from Safa. Good job. I'll get to it once we finish with the break. A is correct, Safa. B, yeah. On vertical asymptote, your statement C is correct, but on horizontal asymptote, from which side does it approaches this horizontal asymptote? Is it always from positive or negative side of 0? D. There is an end behavior. How comes there is no end behavior? So as x approaches positive and negative infinity. Also, your domain is not complete. 1 over negative 1 divided by 7. No, I don't agree with that. 0 is not discontinuity on your domain. So what's happening here? If you substitute x equals -3, what you see? Your numerator 0, your denominator equals 0. And what it means? It means you have dot discontinuity, right? But how you check it? You know that there are two x solutions for denominator. x1 would be 4 and x2 would be -3. And now you can factor this quadratic function. You factor it in the following way. You get x plus 3 divided by x plus 3 times x minus 4. x plus 3 getting crossed out, so it's getting factored, which means you're gonna have a you'll have a dot discontinuity at x equals -3, I believe. Double check that, and we'll get back to it in 10 to 15 minutes, okay? Take your break, do whatever you need, and I'll get back to you in 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, guys, I'm back. No worries, Hala. Don't be sorry. This one is actually not the easiest question, but one of the most significant ones. If you get how to do this one, the rest of it will be a piece of cake for you. So, I'm gonna choose the right answer, and I'm gonna post it. So here it is. Safa did a great job. Also, I encourage you to do your homework on this one. Do it again and check if you have dot discontinuity at x equals -3 and plot this graph, okay? Because without plotting it, it has no sense. You can submit it to the practice test folder that I opened last class yesterday. End behavior here, Safa said none, but it's not correct. I'm gonna show you why. So end behavior, we do x travels to infinity. We check what happens. So infinity plus 3 divided by infinity squared minus infinity minus 12. So as you can see, infinity squared gives the most significant impact to this function. So we can get rid of this and plus 3, and we look at infinity divided by infinity squared. You could cross out this, and the result you get 1 over infinity, which says that as x approaches infinity, y approaches 0 from top, from positive side, right? When we substitute x travels to negative infinity, what you're gonna get is after all the same operations, you're gonna get minus 1 divided by infinity, which means that you approach 0 from negative side, right? So end behavior as follows. As x approaches positive infinity, y approaches 0 from top. As x approaches negative infinity, y approaches 0 from bottom. So I believe if you have uh, -1 over 4 vertical asymptote here, like that, and x equals -3, I believe it's going to be dot discontinuity, and you have horizontal asymptote y equals 0. So what you're supposed to see here, we also have y-intercept. We have no x-intercept, and we have y-intercept at 1 over, oh sorry, 1 over 4 is not a vertical asymptote. Our vertical asymptote is x equals 4, right? X equals 4. 1 over 3, oh, -1 divided by 4, -1 divided by 4 would be the y-intercept. So this graph, I suppose, and -3 would be dot discontinuity. So as x approaches negative infinity, we go from below of the y equals 0. We cross at -1 over 4, and then approaching this vertical asymptote, graph goes down. Then on the right hand side, as x travels to positive infinity, graph supposed to look like this. Okay, I believe this is going to be your graph for this function. And here at -3, you're going to have a dot discontinuity. Please double check it. Okay, great. This one I leave for your homework. Okay, 11. Do it 11 and 10. Please do this again at home because these are important. And let's solve one last question, and I'm gonna let you go earlier because you have to rest. It's already 8:30. So your work here, question 12. Would you like me to solve it for you? We did the same similar stuff yesterday. So cost function as well as the revenue function, and we have to determine the number of phones produced for which the company is making profit. Profit is possible when revenue is greater than the cost, right? So we have to solve this simple inequality. Negative x plus 10. Let me read the question for you. The Research in Motion company estimates that the revenue and cost functions for a BlackBerry are given by R of x equals negative x plus 10 and C of x equals 4x plus 5 over x, where x is the number of phones produced in thousands, and output is measured in dollars. Determine the number of phones produced for which the company is making a profit, right? Profit, if R of x greater than C of x, means profit, okay? If the other way around means loss. We spend more than we got, okay? But we need to solve for profit. So use this inequality sign, then greater than 4x plus 5 over x. Right from here, we say our limitation x does not equal 0. That is reasonable. And that's going to be our vertical asymptote on the graph. So when x equals 0, when we produce 0 phones, it's not a case that is possible. Okay, so next step here would be to multiply left and right hand side by x or by negative x, which I suggest, because doing that will get rid of the minus here. So I multiply by negative x. Or first thing to do, let's bring everything to the same side of inequality sign. So negative x plus 10 minus 4x plus 5 divided by x greater than 0. Now what I do, I multiply left and right hand side by negative x to get rid of this denominator and also to get rid of this negative sign. So what I'm going to have is x squared plus, minus, because I multiply by negative x, minus 10x. Now this plus, this minus turns into plus, but, so I'm going to have plus x times 4x plus 5 before opening the brackets. Greater, now less than 0 because I multiplied by a negative number, correct? I'm gonna clear some space on top. Now we come back here and I say, now I need to open the brackets and simplify it. So x squared minus 10x plus 4x squared plus 5x less than 0. Now I bring common terms together. I get 5x squared minus 5x less than 0. next step for me is to basically find the solutions for when this side equals to 0, so I can split my domain in 3 intervals. So what do? I factor 5x out of it. In the bracket, I got x minus 1 less than 0. So I got, wait. Yep. So I got 2 solutions from here. X equals 0 and x equals 1. 0, remember, 0 is not included in our domain, so we don't use it. So we have only x equals 1, even easier for us. So x equals 1 would be here. And now we have to check whether the function is positive or negative from 0 to 1 and from 1 to positive infinity. How do I do that? I substitute here values in the interval from 0 to 1. Let's say 1 over 2. If I substitute 1 over 2 here, I get 2.5 times negative 1 over 2. Is it less than 0? 2.5 times 1 times negative 1 over 2 is obviously going to be a negative number, which means it's less than 0. So here, from 0 to 1, my function is negative. And this is what I want to see, because my inequality sign is that it's supposed to be less than 0, right? And for greater than 1, let's say I substitute 2. If I substitute 2, it's going to be 10 times 1, which is greater than 0. And this is not what I want to see in this inequality. So my answer is that number of phones produced for which the company is making profit is going to be from 0 to 1,000 phones. This is an interval in which company is making profit. Do you agree with me? Please double check this at home, solve it again, because I think I made a mistake somewhere. Because how do I check it? Now I substitute 2 into initial cost and revenue functions, and what I get that the revenue, if I substitute 2, is going to be 8, and cost, if I substitute 2, is going to be 6.5. So I believe I made a mistake somewhere in my calculations. So please double check this. It's going to be, submit this as part of your home assignment for Sunday. Okay? Just I showed you approach on how to solve this. So basically what you have to do is to solve inequality. R of x greater than C of x. Let me try doing it one more time, quick. This time I will multiply by x. Here is supposed to be minus. Because this minus is used for 4x as well as for 5 here. So now I combine common terms. I'm gonna get negative 5x squared plus 5x, right, more than 0. Now let's say I factor 5x, negative 5x in the bracket. I'm gonna get x minus 1. Yeah, and now I still have 0 and 1 as my solutions, but now I have to look when this function is positive. And if I substitute 1 over 2, it's going to be positive, and when I substitute 2, it's going to be negative. Again, this interval works. So yeah, please double check it at home, because I'm not seeing if I'm making any mistake here. But weird that when I substitute 2 in here, it's going to be, revenue is going to be 8. And here 2, so it's 8 plus 5 is 8 plus 5 is 13, right? 8 plus 5 is 13, divided by 2 equals 6.5. So 2 should work as well. Oh, I see where I made a mistake. It shouldn't be negative 5x. It should be just minus 5. Yes, this is where I made a mistake. Just minus 5. You see? Because I multiply by x, and it shouldn't be x squared here, guys. It shouldn't be x squared here. You see? Now it's correct. Yes. Oh my gosh. You see how easy it is to make a silly mistake on test. So it shouldn't be x squared, because I multiply by x, denominator gets crossed out, numerator is not changing. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so x squared minus 5. Okay, x squared minus 5. 4x minus 4x minus 5. Now I get, I bring the, I combine common factors, common terms, x squared plus 6x minus 5 greater than 0. Yeah, great. Now I can get rid of this minus in front of it. X squared minus 6x plus 5 less than 0. Now I need to solve this quadratic function. Use discriminant, b squared minus 4ac. B squared is 36 minus 20, because 4a is 4 times c, which is 5, is 20. So 16, which gives us square root of discriminant, is 4. Now x1 and 2 equals negative b plus minus square root of discriminant divided by 2a equals to 6 plus minus 4 divided by 2. Now it's correct. Plus, to get, if plus, then it's 5. If minus, then it's 1. Now, you see? Great. Now we have one more point, 1 and 5. So now we check from 0 to 1. I substitute 1 over 2 in this formula. In this one. 1 over 2 would give me 1 over 4 minus 3 plus 5 is obviously positive. Then from 1 to 5, let's say I substitute 3, it's going to be 9 minus 18 plus 5. So it's going to be negative. And more than 5, let's say 6, is going to be 36 minus 36 plus 5 is positive. You see? So my answer would be from 1 to 5,000 phones. Not from 0 to 1,000, but from 1,000 to 5,000 phones is the optimal range when the revenue is greater than the cost. Now it's correct. You see? It's very important to check your solution by substituting it into the question you're giving this, because that's how I found my mistake. And see, my mistake was here where I multiplied by x, left and right hand side. Here, this fraction, I multiplied it wrong, just denominator getting crossed out. 4x squared is not the case, and 5x is not coming here. Can you see that now? Does everybody understands where I made a mistake and how I fixed it? You sure? Everybody? Okay. Can I clear the desk now? Did you copy this down? Thank you guys. Appreciate it. And the last one. This is for you to do now. At least give me an answer for A and B. Or at least A. Let's do A and call it a day, okay? Please type your answer in the chat. Similar to what I just did before, but now the height above the water of a life jacket dropped from 5 meters boat is given by the function blah blah blah, where t is time in seconds after it is dropped and h is the height in meters above the water. When does the life jacket reach a height of 1 meter above the water? So basically what they ask, what is the t value when h of t equals 1? So basically this equals to negative 2t plus 5 divided by t squared plus 1. Go ahead and solve this simple equality and call it a day, okay? We go rest after this. So what we're gonna get here is, first of all, we have to exclude, so we have to state that time is gonna be positive, greater than 0, or equals to 0. Now we have to basically solve 1 equals negative 2t plus 5 over t squared plus 1. I multiply left and right hand side by t squared plus 1, which gives me t squared plus 1 equals negative 2t plus 5. Now I should bring it all to the same side in order to solve it. T squared minus 2 plus 2t, because I bring it over the equality sign, then plus 1 minus 5 equals 0, which means t squared plus 2t, common terms, minus 4 equals 0. Now I have to solve this simple quadratic function. I'm going to use discriminant as well. You can use Viet's theorem or sum and product rule if it's more convenient for you. I use discriminant because I like it most. B squared minus 4ac equals 4 plus right. You might, it's gonna be 4 plus 4 times a is 4 times c negative 4 plus 16 equals 20. Then square root of discriminant is gonna be square root of 20, or 2 times square root of 5. Then x1 and, so not x1 but t1 and t2. So t1 and 2 equals minus b plus minus square root of discriminant divided by 2a, which gives me negative 2 plus minus 2 square root of 5 divided by 2. Negative 2 minus 2 square root of 5 would give us negative number, and remember that time is only positive for us. So we choose when we add 2 of those. So basically we're gonna get negative 2 plus 2 square root of 5 divided by 2. And basically you could leave it as it is, because you could leave this as your answer for this one. Okay? Or you can even simplify it in the following way. So we factor out 2 from here. It's going to be 2 times negative 1 plus square root of 5 divided by 2. This is getting simplified. Equals negative 1 plus square root of 5 is your answer for A. After what time the jacket reaches the height of 1 meter above the water? Negative 1 plus square root of 5. Okay? Okay, guys, check this. as your part of your homework, double check my solution, because teachers also do mistakes, but you always substitute your solution into initial question in order to double check your answer. Thank you guys for participating in today's class. I appreciate it, and I wish you a good night. Sleep well. See you tomorrow at 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Bye-bye. Have a good night, Hala. Bye-bye. Thank you.